seen him progress at every stage of his college career. And I can tell you that Bryan is in many ways like most of our students. He's smart, he's energetic, he's intellectually curious, he's thoughtful, he cares about the world, he cares what happens to others around him and the world at large. And just about every time I see him, he's got his nose in a computer or a smartphone, so he's just like all the other students. But in many ways, Bryan is very different than his fellow students, and that's why we honor him today for his work in journalism. Because of those differences, because of the ways in which he stood out. Some students sit quietly in class. They take notes. Some students raise their hands as much because they want to be heard as they have a question to ask. And then there are students like Bryan who are busy connecting the dots. Sometimes faster than their professors can connect the dots. So there I was one day, giving one of my all-important lectures on press history. I'm babbling on and on about the development of the American press, rich with a history of conflict and opinion-fueled reporting, and I'm going on and on about the roots of the partisan press in the early 19th century. Professor, did you mean to say that the conflict-oriented press has its roots in the shifting political views of the 18th century, you know, because of the emerging party system in the early republic and the emphasis on the 18th century, Professor? Oh, yes. Yes, Bryan. So I turn around, and all of the students are writing down what Bryan said. Some students join a club. They test the waters, they try something. Bryan joined MCTV as a freshman and proceeded to work on television news broadcasts for a number of years. In typical Bryan fashion, that culminated in a MEMA award for best news package that he shared with, I believe, Katie Graziano on some music performances. They did a news piece on that. And Bryan's interest in journalism was actually part of a broader scope for him, his interest in politics and government and citizenship. And once again, it was that perseverance for Bryan. He joined MIPO, the famous Marist poll, and he worked there from freshman year on. In fact, he did so well that he was promoted and he became a supervisor and eventually trained other Marist students to work on MIPO. Some students do an internship, maybe two. Bryan did 3 internships. His first one was with WRGB up in Schenectady, in his stomping grounds up there, in the summer of 2009. The next summer, I believe it was, he interned with YNN in Albany, covering politics that time. His third internship, though, took him down to New York City, where he took part in our special Marist in Manhattan program. That's an intense residential program. Students spend an entire semester living and working in New York. There, Bryan worked for the city council's office, but he changed teams just for a little bit. He worked for the speaker, he worked for the press office of the speaker, because he told me he wanted to see what the other side of journalism was like, working for those PR guys. So maybe later you can tell us the secrets you can do. One day in that program, we hold a number of seminar meetings. One day we sent Bryan a reminder that it was time to have a luncheon seminar meeting. Bryan sent us back a reminder that he couldn't go because he was having dinner that night at Gracie Mansion with the mayor and a bunch of other important people. Did not get a check mark on his homework then. Commencement, of course, is the beginning, not the end. And so Bryan leaves Marist for a new start. After graduation, he will be working in the newsroom for YNN, I believe, right, in the Albany Bureau. He'll be covering the news. And I fully expect that it won't be long before a number of the people who work in that newsroom will be saying to each other, this guy Bryan, what's the deal with him? And they'll be acknowledging, you know, the smartest, hardest working guy in this newsroom is Bryan Terry. Congratulations, Bryan.